Are you not getting YouTube views because your channel isn't optimized? Well, today we are talking about how to max out a YouTube channel with a YouTube specialist. They are entirely built on helping to launch channels, manage channels. They have a successful channel themselves. And today we are opening up this channel for an audit with one of their founders. Her name is Auret Esselen, and she is of Essetino Media. So I'm really excited for this one. I know Taylor, my business partner at SBX Productions, where we help business owners with their podcasts. Taylor, I know you're excited for this one. So you ready to get audited, my friend?
Yeah, we need a fresh pair of eyes to really find out, where we're struggling. So it's nice to get some insight from an outside source.
Yeah, so we are about 1 year in on our show, on our channel, and here's where we need help. Thanks to Auret. Here's the conversation. So, Arit, first off, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you being here and just giving us the education that we need about YouTube channels.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Vince. I'm excited to be here.
So, let's talk a little bit first about the idea of a sort of antiviral mindset. Because for you, being in the YouTube space and doing a similar thing, right? Like we come in from the podcasting side and the strategy there, but you're doing it, which YouTube is so connected and related. But this antivirality thing is something that makes some people shudder and cringe. And oh my God, what do you mean antivirality? Why would I do that? But why do you think people should do that?
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of people want the views, right? It's like, why wouldn't I want all of those views? But um, in our business, we work with a lot of coaches, consultants, service-based professionals, business owners, and most of the time, what they care about is they want to build lasting influence on the platform. They care about elevating their brand authority on the platform and also attracting leads, right? The right person that will become clients, attracting clients from the channel. So that is a completely different strategy. If you're using your YouTube channel to attract clients, it's totally different from the strategy that you see maybe lifestyle vloggers and like the viral YouTube creators doing. And it can be really easy to get, misled because uh, a lot of those creators are sharing what's worked for them in terms of like going viral and getting lots of views and subscribers. But, if you really are paying attention to who you want to watch that video, like you're paying it, you got to pay attention to like who is the viewer that I'm attracting that's going to watch this. That is way more important. Your content strategy around that and making sure that you're attracting that right person with the content strategy, with the topics you're talking about, and also giving them the right call to actions. That's totally different from like the viral stuff. So, for you, it's going to be like for someone who is like that, whether you're listening to this or for you, Vince, it's going to be really important to think about what are those topics that my ideal person is searching for? What are those topics that they care about? And creating content around that, which may not get you like hundreds of thousands of views. And that's okay because it's better to have 100 views on a video or less than 100 views and make a sale out of that rather than like having 10,000 views. And I always use the example of one of our clients who, I think at the time she had less than 1,000 subscribers. They talk about real estate on the channel. Um, and they released a video on their channel. It had like, I think 70 views or something. And that ended up attracting a $10,000 client into their mentorship program. So, like, would you rather have that, right? Like, versus 100,000 views where those people aren't really like, they're not going to be aligned clients for you. It's just vanity metrics at that point that look good and feel good. Yeah. But yeah, if that's not your goal and your goal is to get business from your channel, it's the antiviral strategy that you want to go after.
Yeah, love all of that, completely agree with it. And for one other side of it, so I was talking to somebody recently, also in real estate, and for them, they were worried about making their content regional because they operate in a specific
Mhm.
state, and they were like, "Oh, I don't know if I should do that." But I was like, "Okay, well, let's say that I'm from Montana, which this person is not in that state. But I was like, if I'm in Montana and I listen to your content, what does that do for you?" And I'm like, well. And it's like, yeah, exactly. You can't service that person. Like they're not in, maybe they know somebody in Ohio, but like you're better off focusing and letting those people know, or, whatever state,
Totally.
like tell those people that. And that way you're connecting with that audience. So yeah, simplicity to generate the kinds of relationships to get the high ticket sales. So that's part of the reason why I felt comfortable doing this with you. Cause what we're doing, I mean, this is not an easy thing in a sense of like, hey, Auret, if you could come in and look at our YouTube channel and tell us all the things that need to get fixed, and let's tell everybody about these problems that we've got. Like it's one of those things. It's not the easiest thing to do, but I think it's so important, and I love that you approach it from that same mindset. So, like, I guess with that being the case, you've had the chance to look at our channel. So first off, if you just want to give a little bit of background of what you did going into the analysis of the SBX YouTube channel, and then let's talk a little bit about, some of the issues we've got and things people can learn from it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I asked you a couple questions beforehand, right? I asked you a couple questions in terms of like, what do you want the channel to do for you? Who are you wanting to attract? All those things. And those questions were asked to you on purpose because I'm trying to gauge the strategy for the channel before we talk about like titles and thumbnails and all that stuff. It's first like, what are the videos that, you're releasing on the channel? And that comes from our framework. We talk about strategy first, that's the foundation. Then we can talk about systemizing the production and scheduling and all that stuff. So for you, you mentioned that, what you want out of the channel is you want this to have a great impact with coaches, consultants, and you want to reach that particular target audience, people who are doing podcasts for business strategy. And you also want the channel to attract clients for your business, right? And earn revenue from the channel. So with that, through that lens, there's three things here that are really, really important. You want to align the channel, the topics that you're creating for the channel, with the person that you want to attract, and then give them the right action to take in your videos. So that's align, attract, action, right? So that's the foundational piece here. And when I look at, I'm just clicking over to the tab here on your channel. When I look at, in general, the topics that you're speaking to and the types of videos that you're creating, they're all around podcasting, which makes sense. That's something that you want to be known for. But I think what you could do better is positioning it for the business owners. So, and you've likely, I mean, I didn't scroll too far down, but like you've likely talked about, um, attracting leads or clients from your podcast, but making that obvious in the packaging of the video, like making it obvious in the thumbnail and in the title. And that's gonna work to your favor if you talk really broadly about podcasting strategy for business owners, and also very, very specifically, like how should you structure your podcast to earn revenue from it, right? So thinking about the broad and specific, and um, and making that obvious that it is for business owners in the title and the thumbnails.
What is an example of that then, of like something that we could do to get to a point where we are progressing that content then? What does that look like?
Yeah. So I'm just going to pick something here. So the power of best ofs. Okay. So this is a video that you have on the channel talking about it's titled The Power of Best Of. Stop chasing new ideas every week. And then you have dash it's not just talking. The first thing I would say about that is you want to be mindful um to not use your podcast title in the title of the video. You want to really cater the content to the YouTube platform, right? And I guess that I know that it's your podcast title and it's not just talking. I've also seen people include like episode 17, interview with da 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 da, da, right? But
Mhm.
you gotta title it not as a file name, but as something that speaks to your viewers. So for something like this, they may not necessarily know what the power of bests of, like, what that means. They'll find out once they click on the video, but you have to be aware that they don't know what's in the video yet. And there's, you have stop chasing new ideas every week. Something like this, it you could title it either for like with a hook that hooks them in, and people find that in the browser suggested. So something like stop spending hours coming up with new podcast ideas and do this instead, right? Like something, so because that speaks specifically to a pain point that they have, like coming up with ideas, or spending hours coming up with ideas. That's a pain point, right? Um, you could also go the search route and optimize it for search, which involves a little bit of, keyword research. And we use a tool called TubeBuddy. There's also vidIQ out there,
Hmm.
but you can find out what would in if this video is going to really help someone like a business owner that I want to target, what would they be typing into the search? And, maybe they're typing in something like podcast episode ideas because they need to come up with an idea, or they want help with that. So you could title it podcast episode ideas, um, dash, use this technique without filming anything new, right? So something like that is speaking more to their pain point. Because again, they don't know what the power of best of is. They don't know that it's not just talking is the title of your podcast. They think it's part of the actual title. And it can kind of be confusing in terms of like what that means, what this
Yeah.
video is about. And then also, the other packaging piece to this is the thumbnail as well. So making sure that the title goes together with the thumbnail to get the click. That's the whole purpose of that packaging. For you here for those who are listening to, I'm looking at the thumbnail for this video and it says stress-free content creation. So that, I mean, that sounds good, like stress-free, that's great. But again, you want to attract the business owners, right? So put on there maybe like, um, uh, podcast idea for business owners or something like that. That is going to like the combination of that thumbnail along with the title is going to like speak to that person speak to the business owner who's looking for a podcast idea, and it's also making it juicy because you're saying without filming anything new, or like it's saving you hours. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does make sense. And it's one of those things actually like we are doing, periodic studying, me and Taylor, about different kinds of content creators out there. And one of the things that I've noticed is that they have gone to this point where the YouTube content, regardless of the podcast episodes themselves, they will have separate titles of the same piece of content for YouTube versus the podcast feed. So like there is something to be said for the way this stuff is presented on YouTube, and specifically catering to that audience and the searchability of it, because obviously, the search engine aspect of YouTube is huge. And I guess that's one of those interesting things. I mean, Taylor, I don't know what your thoughts were when it came to the title, for example, of like putting the channel in there. If you have anything on that, but yeah, I know keywords. It makes sense at mentioning business owners more and being more explicit in that way, and just being, I guess, more easy to understand with the titles, especially when you're doing it for that YouTube audience that's way more likely than not never seen us before, never heard of us before.
Right, and you got
And
you
then
gotta make that obvious because they don't exactly, they're stumbling upon your video either through browser suggested or in the search, and even then, the name, like your channel name is in, like they can see that coming up is just in smaller text. Um, so yeah, it doesn't necessarily need to be in the title, but yeah, Taylor, happy to hear more from you.
yeah, I was going to say when we first started the channel, it was the name of the business. So I had the name of the show included in there to reiterate that this is specifically of the show. So that's definitely something we would need to adjust. And then I guess for just searching wise, like if somebody was looking up the show, to make sure that video could come up as well is why it was in the title. But I guess that's more relevant at this point.
Yeah, I mean, so branding is important. Like you can create a consistent branding vibe with just like the colors on the thumbnail and the font and like Vince's photos on there, right? So they see that over and over again and get that kind of feel. But these are people who they've never heard from you. So, I mean, if they are searching for your podcast title, it will come up because it's your channel name, and you can even use that as one of the channel keywords. But yeah, when we're talking about like a specific video, uh, it can get confusing because the function of the title is to get them to click on the episode and watch. And even like within the episode, you can have your watermark and your logo off to the side. I think you already do have something like off to the side in the corner there. So that's again kind of going with the fulfilling the branding vibe, but they won't get that experience until they click on the video.
Right.
Okay, so simpler, stronger titles that more directly and thumbnails that one complement each other, and two more directly address the people that we're talking to get them to click. So,
Correct.
okay, great. What else What else have you noticed, or anything? What's next, Auret?
Yeah. So the other thing I would say is looking at your video descriptions. Um, so if I'm gonna again switch over to this tab here so I can see what I'm looking at here. So, I love that you have a newsletter link as the first line of your video descriptions. If you're listening to this and you're putting your podcast on YouTube, definitely include some sort of freebie like a newsletter or a lead magnet, either in the first line, or it could even be underneath the paragraph that you are using to describe the episode. But it's definitely going to be prioritized at the top of the description. So I love that you did that here. I would pay attention to the wording a little bit more, though, because you want to, again, give them a reason to click on that link. And right now it says, get expert insights every week, join the SBX newsletter. So get expert insights every week feels a little too vague. So for something like this, I would get more specific and say, and even like use a keyword phrase in there that will work to your benefit for the video, like get podcast for business tips direct to your inbox every week, and then put the link there. The podcast for business tips is like a keyword phrase that will work to your favor and attract that right person. Again, it's all got to align with attracting the right person. So something like that would be really good. And then you mentioned in your intake, Vince, that you love, one of the big success metrics for your channel is for people to actually like reach out to you and say how much their video has impacted them. So give them a way to contact you. And I would you have like follow us on social media, and you have like these other links in here about getting on a call and stuff like that. But, I would have a separate um I would section your description out, so you could have a section of like enjoy these other freebies on podcasting for business, and then you can have a separate section for contact us, and you could put your socials and even like a support email address or something like that in there. And you'd be surprised how many people like will just want to put that email in in their inbox and just email you. We have people every week in our inbox coming from YouTube and emailing us. So, and I feel like part of that too is like people are getting more and more desensitized to like the funnels and the landing pages and stuff. Not to say that it's not working anymore, but sometimes just keeping it simple like that can work, can be effective. Um, so those are some pointers in terms of the description, and your descriptions are your money makers. So please, please make sure that you have links in there to something free that you're giving away, a way to contact you, and even like if you have a low ticket offer, that could also you could also get sales to that as well.
If you're looking for more ways to grow your business through podcasting, sign up for the SBX newsletter. The link is right here in the show notes, and each week in your inbox, you're going to get tips, opinions, strategies, all the things that we talk about here on the show in your inbox. The SBX newsletter right here in the show notes. For For the descriptions, that's a newer thing that we did in the last couple of months. It was something that, and same thing, it's just one of those things monkey see, monkey do. It was like, hey, what are some of the bigger channels doing? Oh, they seem to be putting it as literally the very first thing. So let's get that in there. But it makes sense because, for example, we have a handout, a free giveaway of the 9 steps to start a business podcast, right? So free document gets them on our newsletter list as well. Nice, easy win for us, and full of information. Like it's a very practical, like we're really proud of that guide, but we just haven't put it in enough places. So to make sure that that's a consistent thing, easy to access, in addition to the contact stuff, like makes a ton of sense. Because we get some comments like here and there on YouTube, and try to be active about those things when they come through, but not everybody's going to be on there or feel comfortable commenting there or messaging there. So like it's just, yeah, that
Mhm.
makes a lot of sense to just give them the chance to email. Everybody's pretty comfortable doing that. So love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like you know, it works to your favor as well to check out your analytics and see like, are my videos getting a lot of impressions but not as many views? Because a question, if you're asking that question and you're seeing like, oh, we're getting like decent impressions, let's just say you're getting like um 2,000 impressions on a video. So that means YouTube, it's showing up in YouTube search or, the browser suggested, and you can even like dive deeper to see where those impressions are coming from. But let's just say in general, you're getting that many impressions, but not as many views. You're seeing like, I don't know, like 50 views on the video or something like that. Um, then that's telling you got to work on your video packaging. You got to work on the thumbnails and titles because the function of those two things together is what gets people to click on the video after it's like been like come up wherever they're finding it, right? If you're getting low impressions, meaning not as much reach, um, then of course like not as many views, then you got to work top of funnel there. You got to really that means it can mean a few things. It can mean that YouTube's not really understanding your content as much and it's finding it difficult to show it to a similar audience because it may not understand that. By looking at your videos, I think like it's clear you're talking about podcasting and stuff. I think speaking more to the business side of things though as well, like for business owners will work to your favor and will help you to push it out to that right audience.
Mhm.
Um, and then also, it could be that you're not showing up in places like search, like your videos aren't optimized for search. Because YouTube has many different algorithms. Like there's a search algorithm, there's a shorts algorithm, there's browse and suggested algorithm, and you can optimize your video for each type of algorithm. Like I would only optimize the video for search or only optimize the video for browser suggested. So it kind of works. I know we're diving a little bit deep here, but I think like once you really understand that, you can start to see some crazy results on the channel. Like um, we had a productivity channel that like they were talking a lot about time management and productivity frameworks, which is very saturated. Like a lot of people are talking about that. And in the first 4 months of working together, with these little tweaks here, they went from 0 to 7,000 on average monthly impressions per month, meaning it was getting like that reach as well as 2,500 views per month. So again, like testing your packaging, like the titling and thumbnails, I think that's really like a huge thing for you, Vince.
Yeah.
Looking at your channel. Um, yeah, and like,
Okay.
mhm. I don't know if like I could keep going, but you can
No,
you can
well,
let me
let
know.
me actually add something to that because I think
Sure.
part of this is like I get into these things where I've got personal issues, like, and I mean this in a very real way, of embracing certain things around content creation, and
Okay.
part of that is I hate like it took us forever to get to the point where we had something titled like "Stop Doing This" because it felt so generic and it felt empty and it felt like psychological manipulation, honestly, was like one of the things for
Totally
it's
get
just
what you're
like
yeah.
this feels gross. And so I don't want to do that. I'm resistant to that. And so I think one of the real struggles has been, and you're seeing it and like nail it when it comes to the titles and the thumbnails, is like, what is this way to properly get something that conveys the message to people, grabs their attention, but doesn't feel like gimmicky in some sort of way and feels authentic? Because I hate this idea of like the psychological manipulation to get people to click on stuff. And I understand that part of that is the game. Like you've got to get attention, and that's what people are doing. But finding that balance of being us and attracting those people and playing the game, if you will, has been like a real struggle.
I can totally relate to what you're saying, because it does feel like gimmicky and stuff to use the like, "Stop this, do this," right? I think there definitely is a balance though. Like it's not going to work to your favor if you do use like clickbaity titles that aren't going to deliver on what they're clicking on, right? And that's not good for anybody, including the algorithm that wants to share the video with more people and will stop doing so if you keep like if they keep seeing that people are clicking on it and not finding what they want. So it what we've done a lot is like, we love optimizing for search and keeping those titles and topics evergreen, um, and less hooky. We're actually, like, starting to experiment more with, like, the browse and suggested stuff, which is more of the hooky titles, but we still incorporate, like, a good keyword search phrase in there rather than just, like, empty words, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
that doesn't really speak to, what they're gonna get in the video, um, and, like, search is I mean, people find your videos for years and years down the road, like, it's so cool that we still get comments on something that we released, like, 6, 7 years ago, and that's the coolest thing about this platform. You really can build a legacy and a lasting influence on YouTube by repurposing what you're already doing with your podcast. And it's just a matter of like packaging it so that people can find it in the search. Um, so I think for you, Vince, as well, leaning more into um, search phrases that that your person is typing into. Like, ask yourself, what questions is the business owner that I want to attract, like, what are they asking? And actually titling the videos with that question, like outright, just putting it as the title. Um, because then you're like you're basically attracting that person who's asked for an answer, and when they click on the video and if you're delivering on that answer, that's how you're building trust over and over again with every single video. Every video acts as an asset for you.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense too and feels more natural because one of those things it's so interesting. Like my background and Taylor's to a degree as well was sports radio. And so with that it's like in the moment live reaction, it's very just like gut feeling and off the cuff. And as much as we've made a lot of these transitions where it is more business oriented and marketing focused and things like that, there's been and real discussions we've been having lately about paying attention more to SEO and incorporating that into the content. And when we repurpose it to have the newsletters and blogs and you know what I mean? Like have all of those things tied together. So from that standpoint of, yeah, incorporating that feels natural. It does connect with those people. It is delivering value. It's not a false promise of any kind. And that tracks a whole lot more and is something comfortable because I think that's not just something that like on a personal level, but I think people generally speaking, it's just if it feels icky or it feels or just with anything, if it feels uncomfortable, people don't they tend to shy away from it. So
Yeah, and
um,
I mean, like, you're
yeah.
not gonna stay consistent with it too if it feels icky. If it doesn't align with who you are and your own values, like, you're gonna quit eventually, and that's, like, you've already lost the game at that point. So you really have to, um, you know, do this in a way that makes sense for you, that feels authentic, and you can still leverage off of things like the search algorithm and those things, and leverage the billions and billions of viewers that are coming to YouTube every single day.
Yeah. So okay. So with all of that, is there anything else then for now with the channel? Any other thoughts, comments, that you've got for us?
Yeah, I mean, I will add too, I noticed that you don't have a YouTube banner. Um So your channel homepage is consistent of, like, when you customize your channel homepage, you have the ability to upload a YouTube banner at the top, and then you can also feature certain playlists on the channel homepage. So that is huge opportunity to, again, call out to who you want to be watching on this channel. So again, I would put, like, that banner can be used as um, good real estate for saying something like, podcasting, or podcasting strategy for business owners. Like, again, being super clear with that. Like, you'll notice me saying that over and over again. It's got to be like in your video descriptions, in your channel banner, in your about section of your channel. Like, put it everywhere. Again, it also like this metadata trains YouTube to associate you with that keyword phrase. So, definitely put that on your banner, and you could also have a call to action in the banner for your newsletter, like showcase some sort of visual thing that represents your newsletter, or you said you had like a guide for 9 free or 9 tips or something like that. So
Yeah.
you could have like a visual mock-up of it on the banner and tell people to opt in for it, and then put that link as the first link in your channel.
Mm.
Um, the one that shows up when you're just on the homepage. Right now you have free podcast help, but, like, I would put, the either the newsletter or the free guide on there. And then like, you can feature certain playlists as well that speak to the different pillars of content that you talk about. Like, if you were to break down um, podcasting for business owners, like, let's just say, for example, there could be a playlist about strategy. There could be a playlist about, like, the actual implementation of creating the podcast, like the way that it's structured, or the way that you edit it, or whatever. So you can have those separate playlists aligned with the pillars. Um, the different content pillars that you speak to. And that way, again, like, if I'm a business owner and I'm landing on this channel and I'm seeing exactly what you stand for in the banner, I'm seeing like all these playlists, like, there's one on strategy, and that speaks to what I need to figure out right now is my podcast strategy. I can start to binge your videos right there in that playlist. And again, that's going to work to your favor, adding watch hours and helping YouTube push it out more. So, yeah, and just little tweaks like that go a long way.
Yeah, no, this is all great stuff because for us, we've been doing the show really just about a year now. We've been doing all of this in total, so it's one of those times where it's great timing with all of this because it's like a lot of self reflection that we're doing right now anyway. And so all of these things are great. Like we love all this. Really, hopefully by the time this is out and people look at the channel, we've hopefully made a couple of improvements already. Like that's kind of the goal here. So I love all of this and like genuinely appreciate you taking the time to do this and have this conversation with us and go through everything with the channel. So it's been so simple. Like you've explained everything so well, and it's been a great help for us. So with that, for the people who would love to learn more about you and work with you and talk with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, if you're watching this and you're like, I want her to audit my channel, I'm happy to do that as well. Like, I love doing this. It's so much fun for me. So we do offer YouTube channel audits and strategy consultation. And Vince, I'm sure you'll pop some links in the show notes and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
if you just want to, enter our world and, like, get to know a little bit more about what we do and our framework, then we do have a YouTube authority checklist that it basically put together all of the data that we've stumbled upon in working with our channel management clients. So this is, like, based on real client data, and we've put together the 10 non-negotiable things that, like, basically the things that you need to know what you need to do on your channel in this checklist. So it's a way for you to also self-audit if you don't want to jump on the audit, but, like, you just kind of want to dip your toes in there. It's a way for you to self-audit what you're doing on the channel to make sure you're focusing on the right things, because I know that YouTube can be super overwhelming and there's so many things to focus on. So yeah, and also, like, just happy to hit me up on DMs or anything on socials. I'm happy to chat with you.
Awesome. All right. Well, Auret, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you being here on the show, and let's keep in touch.
Likewise, sounds good. Thanks for having me, Vince and Taylor.